Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Saturday to everybody, and happy Christmas Eve. Eve, I think is the right way to say it. I have a very special guest on the line today. Everybody, if you're a subscriber of mine, already knows who this guy is, and if you don't, then you've been living under a rock, or possibly in a cage full of euthanized cats, if the rock doesn't work out for you. But it is the legendary Bobby Dirkens. Now, Bobby, we had a conversation. We were just talking about this off air. First of all, how are you, Bobby?
Lord, if I get any better, I'd be ho myself.
Yeah. So we were just having a conversation off air, and I was trying to remember if I came up with the concept for this video, or if he did, or if we did together, and neither one of us can remember. So being the nice guy that I am, I'm going to take full credit for the idea. Okay? So you get
Lord, listen to me. Listen to me. If it's all my fault when it's going wrong, I'll take all the credit when it goes right. So I'd do that if I were you.
Okay, great. So we're on the same page. It was my idea. Now, anyway, but the premise of the video was what if we came on and did a real talk to the real guy, not the Bobby Dirkens character. And I think the reason this came about is because we did a video together. And there's also some other YouTube video makers out there that I have seen mention you, and either in the comment section or on live on the video, they say nobody can wrap their head around whether or not you're being yourself or whether this is some sort of character. Now, I find it really hard to believe that anybody's stupid enough to think that you euthanize cats for a living. In fact, the real job, I'm going to go ahead and reveal his real job. So if Bobby gets mad at me about this, I'm sorry. But he is a Chippendales dancer, and that's his real job. He just was not allowed to say that because his wife didn't want the world to know, and he's got kids. They'll be ashamed of it. And but I told him just be proud. Be proud of wearing a tie with no shirt and dancing half naked for women. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
That is, and you got to think about this. I'm not that good looking, so I have to work real hard. But, I mean, it's just like the old saying, I'm working harder than an ugly stripper. Well, in this case, I am one.
So I guess the best route to go with this is because I had people asking me, because we obviously went and met in person at the Clemson and Louisville game this year, along with Prince and Tiger, and I had a great time, and Mrs. Peete, of course. And so people were asking me, is he really like that? Does he really talk like that? And the way I answer every time people ask me that, well, first of all, most of the time I don't even answer. I just laugh at them. But the ones that I do answer, I say, you know what? It's obviously it's a character, but it's kind of a 50-50 split. It's not it's not 100% of a character. It's you, but vastly what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggerated. Thank you. I didn't go to Clemson. So vastly exaggerated, and then of course, then borderline ridiculous with some of the antics that you do.
Of course.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us? The best thing to do is tell us how the real Bobby, not Bobby Dirkens, but how did this character come about, and what in God's name gave you the idea to actually go on camera and act this way?
This is really funny. We had this idea the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking, as you were saying, we just shot a video, and so we get done with this really long video, and then we hang up. And you called me, and we started talking football, and we started bouncing around the idea, if we actually talked, kind of like after the cameras and so on. And I started playing around the idea. I get this question all the time: is Bobby Dirkens real? Is he this? Is that really your voice? Well, as you can hear, I'm a Southern man.
Yeah.
I do have an extremely. I have a real. Even in my family, I have a really thick accent. I don't know why. I don't know how it got this thick, but it is,
Yeah.
But really, just kind of make this nice, quick package to just kind of unroute and not just ramble like I am right now. is basically I've always been kind of this guy who just runs around and just does impressions of people and things and makes fun of everybody, including myself. And
yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I just had this idea. I had won this old Bud Light cap, and I was like really ticked because I thought I was going to win something really nice. And I answered some questions at one of these little, you know, you answer these questions, you win this grand prize, and it was that ugly Bud Light hat that I wear.
Yeah.
And so it just sat on my desk. It just sat on my desk in my office. And I was going to throw it away or give it to one of my buddies who was actually a redneck. And and then one day I was just sitting there and I saw where Beyonce and the Dixie Chicks was on the Country Music Awards. And I have no problem with either one of them. Beyonce there's nothing wrong with her. I'm not a fan of her music, but I have no personal problem with her whatsoever.
Right. And
then the Dixie Chicks, we all know that the Dixie Chicks was, you know, they got banned from country music and all this bunch of stuff. But I thought that it was really, really funny that those two acts were on the Country Music Awards. So you have someone who was about as country as New York City on there, and then you have somebody who has, you know, been banned from country music. Now they're together and they're on here together. So I thought that it would just be funny to turn on my camera and just talk about it from a redneck man's perspective.
Right.
Like, you know, and so that's what I did. And, you know, of course, I mean, I know that there's all these great YouTubers out there, all these different genres. They get millions of views in a day. And so that, you know, that's not me. But for a guy who had never turned on a camera and uploaded the footage to YouTube, I mean, I had like 3,000 views in a day. So I was sitting there going, it's just pure stupidity. I'm going to keep doing this. And I did. And it just became more and more stupid, and that's when I would start to get the message: Are you real? Or are you not? Are you real? Or are you not?
Yeah.
So so I just transcended on over to Clemson and talking about Clemson and what I basically wanted to do, Pete, was just I was going to take the stereotype of a Clemson fan. Stereotype of a Clemson fan to everybody outside of Clemson or outside of the South is, they're that little, you know, country redneck school over in Clemson, and you know, there is a stereotype whether everybody thinks there is or not. There is a stereotype if you speak to people who's outside of this region, probably tri-state, quad-state area.
Yeah, there's
a stereotype.
It's a ridiculous stereotype because. I mean, listen, Clemson's campus, Clemson's located in the country, so that's sort of why they get the stigma of that. But for instance, and you know, I can't go a single video, especially with you, without taking a jab at the Gamecocks. But and they like to call us rednecks. I get people on here coming on my channel all the time calling me a redneck from other fan bases, you know. Oh, this guy's just a dumb redneck. You only have a 2.0 to get into Clemson, this and that. And first of all, that could be further from the truth. But I'm like, look, I'm a redneck. Let me point you towards the real one. His name is Bobby Dirkens. Go check him out on YouTube. That's the real one. But no, but the funny thing is if you go to like a tailgate at a Gamecock game, you're going to see more cutoff shirts and bad tattoos at a South Carolina tailgate than you will at a Clemson tailgate. So, that's sort of like them calling us rednecks is, they need to look in the mirror before they start saying that.
Yeah. We do get that a lot. And that's basic. I mean, really, that's the basis of me basically going into character as Bobby Dirkins. And so what I did, really, and I want us to move on to college football and so on. Really what I did was I took all the – now I would tell you this, a lot of the stuff I say, like Mayfair, I have caught so much crap from the word Mayfair. And a lot of people either loved it. I mean, I've said this about Bobby Dirkins. You either love Bobby Dirkins or you absolutely hate Bobby Dirkins.
How can you hate Bobby Dirkins?
Well, maybe member of ISIS, as Bobby would say, but the thing is most people when they make this next statement, Pete, they don't mean it. They say it to try to act like it really doesn't bother them. But I actually mean this. I really want Bobby Dirkins to be that way. I want you to either hate him or love him. I don't want to be somewhere in the middle where it's like he's okay. It's forgettable. It's really, really forgettable.
Yeah, and
so
I'm not even trying to do that, but that's how it is for me. People either love me or hate me, and I'm not even being a character. I mean, like 95% myself on here, you know. But so I don't know what my excuse is.
And I met you, and you are the same way. You are the same way in person. Although it was quite interesting us going to the game together. We'll get to that in a second. How we, here we are with these. We talk a lot. I mean, we really do. We talk a lot. Both of us do. Man, we sat at the game. Yeah, we celebrate when they score. But, dude, we both, I noticed this, and it was kind of after the fact, we both kept our mouths shut during the game because we were truly there for the game. We wasn't there to dress up in our little Clemson shirts or, like the sororities. They look like they're going to some type of ball, and it's at a Clemson game, and it's 85 degrees, we were literally there for the game, so that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
That was really enjoyable. But, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we did try to do a live stream there at halftime. It just didn't work. So we gave up on that real quick. So we went right back to watching football again.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We went up to the very top, and it was just, I guess the signal during the game was just so strained because, you have 80,000+ people in one little area. But yeah, basically the whole idea behind Durkins is I'm taking the stereotype of a Clemson fan. I'm also taking rednecks that I grew up around and I saw and I met. Mayfair is actually something I heard while I was working construction with my family. So they'd go hire these. I mean, they were good as gold, but they'd hire some of these rednecks, and man, they'd be on one side of the job site,
yelling at
hollering on the
other.
All across. And instead of it, somebody pull up on the job site, and they were trying to say, hey, but they say, hey there, but it comes out May there.
Yeah.
Because May there. So I took it. I knew another good little boy. Go ahead.
Every comedian or video maker has a tag line or multiple tag lines, and I couldn't think of a better one to fit the Bobby Dirkens theme than Mayday. That works perfectly.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I took that. I do know that there's some Clemson fans, and you and I've talked about this, who said that I make them look bad. They said that you make them look bad.
Oh yeah, I get that all the time.
And then I talked to Volunteer Roadshow Catfish, and he was telling me that his worst, the people who comes out after him the most and is the most just insulting is Tennessee fans.
So, yeah.
There's a correlation.
It's a weird thing, man. It's a weird thing. It's like we call them the fan police. You're not being a fan. You're not being a fan the way that I am. So therefore, you're either not a fan or you're representing the fan base badly. And I'm like, look, man. I tell people when they start Clemson fans when they start criticizing me, saying that this guy doesn't represent Clemson. He didn't go to Clemson. Of course, not that I haven't been a fan since I was 5 years old and I'm almost 40. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I had two siblings that went there and my wife went there. That doesn't matter. I'm not allowed to be a fan, and I don't represent the fan base correctly because I get on here and talk, my mind about college football, and people get their feelings hurt about it. But I tell them this is what I always tell them. It's pretty much this simple. I don't represent Clemson. I represent me. I just happen to be a Clemson fan.
Yeah. And think about this. Think about this too on a logical level. Like seriously, think about this on a true, just normal logical level. You are saying, by the way, most of these people make these comments. It's not all of these people who criticize us for putting our face on camera. I mean, that takes some manhood to get on a screen and start talking, whether you're famous or not. It really does, because you open yourself up to criticism.
Exactly.
But most of these people who are pissing on me and you are people who create these funny little screen names, like Orange for Life, which I just made that up. So if there's an Orange for Life out there, you hadn't said anything
Orange for Life.
I'm not coming after you.
You suck, sir, if you're out there.
But you know what I'm saying. And they'll do this, and they'll say, but they, one of the recent things I heard was he makes our fan base look bad and stupid, and I'm sitting there going, dude, A, I represent me.
Yeah.
B, you have to think about, you can tell if anybody's not paying attention, they watch more than a couple of videos, they realize I'm not real. This is not really me. You know, this is satire. And then the other thing I step back and say, man, you may need to actually go visit a psychiatrist if somebody you don't even know
can get you worked up like
video
that. Yeah.
Could get like really bother you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
but the real part of me. Go ahead.
To put some perspective into what you were just saying, I just want to clarify for the audience because I know exactly what you're talking about as far as the people that were criticizing you. So I'll just give the backstory behind that as far as you go. So Bobby Dirkens did a video with tailgating for Tigers when they in November for the South Carolina and Clemson game. And for anybody who doesn't know tailgating for Tigers, they just go around. Well, it's this guy. I don't know. It's just one guy, right?
Yeah, it's Peete, and his name's Peete Stone.
His name's Peete. Oh, he must be a great guy. He must be a great guy.
He's an OG. He's an OG, man. I mean, he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, no.
He was kind enough to. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody pretty much everybody in the Clemson fan base knows who this guy is on YouTube. But anyway, so Bobby did this thing where they went around and they interview people while they're tailgating and stuff, and before and after the game, all that sort of thing. And it's a lighthearted thing. It's for laughs. And anyway, Bobby had his guitar and he sang his famous new release, "Peck Your Dookie Chickens," if I think that's correct.
That is the penmanship of a drunk genius.
Yes. So he was playing this. He's playing this ridiculous song, which is hilarious but ridiculous, for Gamecock fans at the Clemson game. And I guess so. This video got first of all his videos are well, there's a lot of views just based on the Clemson fan base, but I know that a lot of other people watch them too. But the video gets shared on TigerNet, and TigerNet's sort of like this internet thread for a Clemson fan base. That's the best way for me to put it. And you can share stuff on there. The video gets shared on TigerNet, and there's a bunch of people that claim they're Clemson fans, or I'm sure some of them are, some of them there weren't, that were criticizing you, saying that you make the fan base look bad, and you're just the quintessential redneck, and that's what everybody thinks we're stupid for, and this and that. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, dude. I had family call me like 2 days after it went up on TigerNet.
Yeah.
And said, I hadn't looked at it because, against what everybody thinks, I don't use an ICAP. I'm in sales for a large IT company. I'm finishing my degree. In fact, you and I were just talking. I'm about to take my final. I'm about to take my final after it's later on today. So in real life, I am married. I do have 2 children. I am busy out the wazoo. I don't get to put up the videos like I want to, because I would put up a video every day, every couple of days, if I truly had the time.
Yeah.
So I hadn't looked at it. I knew that it was going up, but I hadn't looked at anything. So I started getting some phone calls going, man, have you looked at the comment section? I went, look, I'm used to comment sections. I mean, everybody, you know this just as well as I do. Everybody hides behind those stupid little names they create, and it's like, they drink a bunch of courage, and then they start typing away, armed with their keyboard. They type away, and they come after you, and they say some really, really bad things. And so I was like, I'm just going to go look at it now just for the crap of it. And that was the number one complaint. You make us look bad. I'm sitting there going, really? I'm that powerful? Man, I need to go home and tell my wife.
Yeah, no kidding, right? You need to be elected at some sort of office in the athletic department if you've got that much power. Yeah. And the thing that really strikes me the most is not whether people think that you make their fan base look bad, because I get that all the time too, which I don't care. But do these people not have any sense of humor? I mean, how miserable of a person must you be to not be able to listen to watch this guy play the guitar and sing "Peck Your Dookie Chicken" and not laugh at that?
Well, you know what? I don't take as much salt. I don't take into account much salt for the whole. If you don't like my comedy, you don't like my comedy, and I'm actually fine with that. I have a niche. You have a niche. Everybody does. Everybody who does what we do, they have their thing. And so I have friends and family who sits there, and man, they think that I'm the stupidest person on earth. I also have friends, and it's always the unexpected ones. Like, you're like, if those people think this is bad, this person's definitely going to think it's horrible. And that ends up being the person going, man, I love it. I watch every video. I love May there. I love this. That was hilarious. What did you think? So that is fine with me. That's completely fine with me. I think where I get annoyed is and I'll give it to them. They really annoy me. Is you make Clemson look bad? I mean, dude, the only reason some of the Clemson fans right now have any overconfidence and they're running around with their chest poked out is because Dabo Swinney, who, by the way, especially on TigerNet, they criticized Swinney. Dabo Swinney. So I felt pretty good. I was like, oh no, criticize the man who's making this relevant, and of course they're coming after me. That's fine. That's fine. So I'm in good company. I'm in a winner's company. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And the famous words of Uncle Lou, the advice he gave me when I first came on YouTube was, it don't matter if they like you. It's just the only thing that matters is if they watch you. So.
Exactly. That's the next thing. That's the next thing, Pete. What you and I do, and Uncle Lou, you know, I've never just formally spoke to him. I think we've commented a couple of times and so on. So I don't know him. I didn't even know of him. I started doing my videos, and somebody, a Georgia fan, hit me up and said, "There's this guy named Uncle Lou. You ought to check him out." And I check him out. You know, he's Uncle Lou. I mean, he's the man. But you know, the thing that us three do is get a rise out of people, and we know we're getting a rise out of people. Even when we start to we're about to move away from a talking, you know, a topic. And we start to see we get that much rise. I mean, do you realize how much Miami fans hate me because I went after that khaki chain they pulled out? You know, they hate me, and so I talk about it more. Why?
Well,
because it's fun. It's fun to see their reaction.
That's. I got to thank Miami fans, crazy ones especially. That was sort of the initial base of my subscriberships. I mean, I had nobody watching my videos, and I made a video where I just went off on Miami fans based on some of the comments that they were leaving on my videos. And at the time, like I said, I had like 10 subscribers. I was like maybe a week into this thing, you know? And I wake up the next morning, and I must have got shared. The video I made about Miami fans must have got shared like on a Miami Facebook page or something. I don't know, but it had like 4,000 views, and I had no subscribers. And I'm like, wow, so you say terrible things about the team, and this is what you get. Then I had like 90 more subscribers that day, and they were all Miami fans. And the reason that they were there was not because they loved my videos or wanted to pat me on the back and tell me how great I was. They were there to give me a hard time. But that was fine. And then that's sort of how it got started. And then the same sort of thing happened with Oklahoma. And none of this was planned. I didn't say I'm going to make a video trashing this team so I can get views out of it. It was sort of an organic thing where I was responding to comments, and then they would get pissed off and share it with their friends, and then they would end up subscribing. And most of the ones that stuck around for more than a week or two ended up liking the channel. They thought I was a complete moron when they first saw me. And well, I'm sure some of them still do think that, but at least they stuck around. Yeah.
You're right. And you'll get these instances where you have the same person who trolls you. Like there's one guy, I won't even call his name right now, because if I did, I would really be giving him credit. He trolls the living piss out of me on every live stream I do. And what is funny, I rarely address him. I rarely say anything. He just consistently trying every live stream I do. I mean, like 95 out of 100 live streams, he is on there.
He likes you, man.
I never really say that, but he keeps showing up. He's subscribed, and here's another thing. A lot of people, you look at subscriber rate. You'll see subscribers, and in the world of YouTube, you've got guys like Peete with 75 million or something like that. I don't know.
Crazy number.
75 million subscribers. It's outrageous. But the thing is, you start looking at people's views. That really tells a story, because if everybody subscribed to you, or even 80% who subscribed to you or to me, who was actually watching, you and I'd have 70,000-80,000 subscribers right now, and we're just guys who just decided to turn on camera one day, which that's really cool. I mean, it's actually kind of fun, Yeah. So
no, it takes a special kind of idiot to do what we do. That's for sure. So congratulations, you're an idiot.
Yeah, congrats. My wife can notarize that.
Yeah, believe me. I mean, our families think we're completely nuts, and they're right. But anyway, we love to do it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We're certainly not doing it for the money, are we, Bobby?
Oh my God, I wish. I really wish.
Yeah.
I just keep hoping that one day a video will just go viral. But you know what? I told somebody recently. I said, here's the deal. I do what I do because I work so much, whether it's between actual work on my degree, I coach my son's football team, spending time with my family, which is not a job for me. That's something I want to do. But and I'm a musician. I actually am a musician. I go out and I play gigs and so on. But I do get that because people say, you play guitar, but that's not really me singing. When I sing as Bobby, that's not my real voice. But so people will be like, yeah, good guitar playing, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But the point is I do this as an outlet. I love college football. So the part of me that is real, and I love this, Pete. This is the part I really, really dig. Like, this is the part, like, so you have somebody turn on my video. They see this babbling idiot with a Bud Light hat. He claims Bud is his initials, Bobby Ulysses Durkins. That's one of the reasons he loves Bud Light. He's sitting here spouting off all this stupidity about one time he dated his third cousin because he found out it's genetically acceptable, and it was working out till his uncle got involved and got mad, and all this bunch of crap. And then and so they're like, this idiot's going to say some really stupid stuff about our football team. And then then as Bobby, I start telling facts that I know about their team.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we both miss it.
Right.
If we were really that good, we'd be in Vegas making millions. But, you start hitting them up with the facts, and I don't know how many times, I know you have as well, you get these comments that says, I don't like your comedy. I think you're stupid, but your analysis or analogy of our team, it was actually spot on. I'm subscribed. I don't know how many times I've got that.
Yeah, I get stuff like that. Mine varies all over the road.
Yeah.
It could be from this guy has never seen a football game, doesn't know anything about football, to I think that you have objective analysis, and I'm going to subscribe. It goes all over the road. I think what it really comes down to is, are these people? Some of the people are here for the trash talking part of it, which is fine. I have fun doing that too. And some people are actually here for the football part of it. And the ones that are here for trash talk, they don't care about the football part of it as much. They're just here for the entertainment factor, I guess. And the ones that care about football, I think they appreciate what it takes to do what we do. It's not easy. So.
Yeah, they do. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm on your show, and I'm not tickling your ears or, scratching behind your ears. I guess whatever a fake compliment is, I really mean this. What you do it very well, Pete. You do it very, very well, and you've majorly stepped up your game. Like I'm going to have to learn some things from you on my broadcast and so on, and trying to make it better. But you do a great job. And one thing I really like about you is that you do not, you stay away from politics. And that's one of my things, too. I stay away from politics. We have enough of that on TV. We have enough of it in sports now. It's just got so, like, you're just sitting there trying to enjoy a game, and then all of a sudden something comes out of left field, and you're like, man, I don't want to hear this right now. So I feel like for me, one day I was making a video, and I even made it was just meant as a joke, a slight political thing kind of shot out of my mouth. I finished the video, I uploaded the video, and 20 minutes later I deleted it because I broke my rule. I think a lot of people like to listen to us because we stay away from politics. We're talking about football and football only. You're talking about teams, you're talking about traditions. That's all we do. That's all I want to do. And I've had a lot of compliments on that. Thank you for staying away from all this other stuff. Thank you for focusing on, the tradition and the issue, the issue at hand, and that's football.
Yeah, I have absolutely no interest in talking about politics on this outlet. I do this. The great thing about sports is to get away from all that sort of stuff. Now, it's not as if you have to ignore it. Everybody needs to be invested in their community and what's going on in the country. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying as far as what people come to the YouTube channels for, unless they're going to watch a political show, they don't want to hear about it, and I don't want to talk about it. It's depressing too, by the way.
Right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. People don't. I don't want to. I don't want to. There's enough cable stations out there to deal with that. To deal with any issues, and
that's sort of a problem. It's a problem on
Yeah.
ESPN and Fox Sports and stuff. They're starting to get those two lines mixed a little bit too much.
Yeah.
For people's taste, I think.
Yeah. And so great job on not doing that. And that's one thing that I've tried to stay away from. But I'll go ahead. I want to, even though I'm on your show, I want to ask you. I know you've had videos. This is us talking. And I want to ask you, what do you feel? What do you feel the number one obstacle is for Clemson? Not to only beat Notre Dame, but beat Alabama. What is the number one obstacle? Because I know we're quickly transitioning into football.
That's fine.
What do you think?
Yeah. So I think the same is going to be true for both games, and obviously I fear Alabama more than I would Notre Dame as far as actually winning the game. But I think the key, because our offense is going to score, I feel, 30 points on anybody they play at minimum. So whether you're Notre Dame or Alabama, in order to beat Clemson, you're going to have to outscore them because we're just too good at every position on offense. That's just all there is to it. If they try to stop the run, we can throw it deep, and if they can't stop the run, then the game's over before it started. So so the key here is going to be limiting how much they score, right? So the key for us is going to be similar to what the key for them to stop us would be, and that's to stop their run, whether it's Notre Dame's run game or Alabama's run game, because that's what's going to open up the pass for them. And if they're able to force us to play one-on-one situations with our corners and safeties, then they can score on us. We saw that with South Carolina. And so that's the key there. I don't want linebackers covering receivers. I don't want linebackers covering that tight end. Have you seen this tight end for Notre Dame? This guy's amazing.
He's outrageous.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak athlete. He'll definitely be. He's got to. I mean, I can't imagine which tight end would be taken ahead of him in a draft situation. This guy's built like a brick house, and he's got good hands, and he's fast. So that's the key. It's controlling the run game of our defense so that we don't have to rush 7. We can just stay with the front 4, and we can double cover some guys and get some better coverage in the back end.
I agree with that. Because a lot of people doesn't realize how good that front 4 is. I mean, they say they do. They turn on the big networks or whatever. You read sports publications, and they talk about the front 4, but it's quickly forgotten once you start talking about the game. The first thing you hear about is what you just said, secondary. That's secondary. I was at the South Carolina game, after we went around and embarrassed ourselves in the whole Clemson community. We actually went and sat in the stands and watched the game. Yeah. And I was there. I mean, I was there for that. South Carolina did a really good job. I can't believe I'm saying that. I might be having an aneurysm. Call my wife. They did a really good job. And I went back and watched the replay of that South Carolina game. Everybody keeps harping on. And you cannot see what was going on in the secondary. They were snapping the ball while our defensive backs were still getting lined up. Yeah. And it happened all ball games. So it was just good. It was just good planning for them. But you and I both know that Brent Venables is not going to continue to let that go on. He's not. He's going to make the proper adjustments. And then the next thing I'd step back and look at is you hear this little pepper. It's like a little pepper on food. You'll hear people say, well, Trevor Lawrence, he's a freshman, and he's going to get some different looks because he's finally playing elite talent. You know what? I think that there may be some looks that's going to get thrown at him, in a couple of occasions. That's, it's going to expose some freshman experience. But overall, I am not worried about Trevor Lawrence. In fact, I think that the other teams are truly worried about him going, yeah, I know it says freshman beside him, but he's nothing like a freshman. Nothing. No. So, I think that we definitely win the game against Notre Dame somewhere around 35-20. I think Notre Dame's actually going to score on us. I think they're going to come. They're going to fight hard. They're going to fight. Notre Dame's a good football team. I saw it on your broadcast with Always Irish. You said anybody who thinks Notre Dame is not a good football team, you have not watched them play. You nailed it. They're a good football team.
Yeah.
Really, really good football team.
Yeah,
So,
I must think they're even better than you
game.
do, because I picked a 7-point victory by Clemson. Now, like I said to him, I would love to see Clemson go out there and do what they did to Ohio State a couple of years ago and shut them out 31-0. Or I said, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Notre Dame, they're legit. Here's the way my father-in-law put this to me, and I think he nailed it. He said, there's two different scenarios that could happen in this game. Number one, Clemson has the potential to blow out Notre Dame. Okay, that's number one potential. Number two, it's a close game and Notre Dame has a chance to win a close game. But he said basically there's no scenario where Notre Dame blows out Clemson, and I think he nailed it. It's either Clemson wins a close one, or Notre Dame wins a close one, or Clemson just handles them. Those three different options there.
Yeah, and he nailed that. Clemson has the complete and total, and I know people are going to say this is biased. Of course it's going to be biased to a point, but I'm serious. You step back and look at this team. Ever since Trevor Lawrence took over the team and settled in, that's the key. He did not settle into that Syracuse game. He had just come out of a whirlwind. He got knocked out of the game, but he had just come out of a whirlwind with the whole Kelly Bryant thing. Yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine what was going on, because from what I understand, he and Kelly had a good relationship. So imagine, you're in between the savior and the bad guy to somebody off in the corner. You're playing the second best team in the ACC, Syracuse. It's all of this media swirling around you, and you've got to take over the game. And then he gets knocked out. That guy, once he settled in, I think he's the best quarterback in the country. I believe it. He can mix. He actually is a dual threat quarterback, and I know a lot of people would say you're stupid. Watch him get in trouble. A dual threat quarterback, and I harp on this all the time, Pete, and you and I have talked about this. A dual threat quarterback means that you can properly throw the football.
Yeah,
you can actually throw the football, and if you need to get out of trouble, or if they want to call a running play with you, guess what? You can actually run. The guy can actually run. Just because he's 6'6" and he's not, just placed out there on some type of
he's fast.
platter.
He's fast.
He can move.
Now, don't get me wrong. Whenever he takes off with the football, I hold my breath.
Me too.
Yeah, but he can move though.
Yeah, he can move. He can move. So every team, he's always seen as this pocket passer. But a lot of teams overlook, and I'm glad they overlook it. I hope they continue to overlook it. He can actually run. He's actually a true blue dual threat quarterback. Who can you get in trouble, he can get out of it really quick, and you can see the defensive lines or the linebackers looking at each other going, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so
he wasn't supposed to do that.
Going back to the situation where you said he came in, for Kelly Bryant, and there was that whole sort of ugly transition period there. A lot of I liked when he made the change. I wanted him to make the change maybe a couple of weeks before he did. But anyway, he made the change at 4 weeks, and Kelly Bryant leaves. And I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, is that there was a large group of Clemson fans out there that were upset about the way this was handled. They said we shouldn't have let him go. We should have, said whatever we needed to do to keep him, because we might need him in case Trevor Lawrence goes down and this and that. And, obviously you're not a better team if you lose a great player like Kelly Bryant. But I think at the end of all this, the person that comes out looking like a genius is Dabo Swinney, because I think the fact you saw Trevor Lawrence elevate his play whenever he was the guy and he didn't have Kelly Bryant breathing down his neck anymore. Mm-hmm. Once Kelly Bryant was able to leave and move on and get out of the picture, it sort of just opened up. It just relieved all that pressure off of his shoulders of needing to compete with Kelly, or he's the guy now and he can go out there and just do his thing and focus on football. And I think if it weren't for that move, we may not be in the playoffs right now.
I agree with you 100%.
I really believe that. Yeah. So it was a genius move.
That was a genius move by him. He took a lot of flack, and like a good leader, that's what people don't get about people who make good decisions. good decisions does not mean that at the beginning everybody's patting you on the back telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
No, it means that in the long run, the short-term loss for you, the short-term investment for you is that people think that you're scum or you did Kelly wrong. The long-term investment is when those people who creates their dumb little YouTube names and TigerNet names, and they're sitting there chomping at the bits of them, they're the same ones who's going, yeah, I guess he is great, when we're holding a national championship over our head. That's the reason why he's paid millions of dollars and other people spend their spare time in between work typing out bad things about it. He knows what he's doing. Hey, let's be honest with ourselves. He gave Kelly Bryant a fair shake. He gave him a fair shot. He would actually be holding up his middle finger to the rest of the team. If he continued to start Kelly. He would also be hurting Kelly. Because Kelly,
The other thing that surprised me is I don't understand, I know the quarterback position is the one that everyone pays attention to, and it's because they get the most blame and they get the most praise and all that, but this is not new. Dabo Swinney has been playing true freshmen over upperclassmen if they're better ever since he's been there. He does not care what position it is. He doesn't care about any of that. He doesn't care if you're the nicest guy on the team. I made this reference the other day. So I don't know if you remember when, what's the guy's name? Damn it, now I'm going to forget his name. The receiver for Clemson, he just turned pro last year, but the first national championship game against Alabama, he got suspended and sent home.
Deion
Cain, thank you. His name is just slipping my mind.
Yeah.
And he was such an important part of the offense that year, and that was still a close game. That could have possibly lost us that game. But Dabo doesn't care who you are. That's my point. If Deshaun Watson, as great as he was and as important as he was to the team, both those years where they went on national championship runs and actually won one, if he would have broken a rule the way that Deion Cain did, he would have been benched in the national championship game, period. That's how much Dabo does not care who you are. He will bench anybody for anything that he feels like they need to be benched for if they break a rule. And so the same goes with who you're starting. He's going to start the person that deserves to start the most and the player that gives them the best chance to execute whatever offensive or defensive plan that they're trying to execute. And that's just all there is to it.
Well, I know someone right now, and I just heard this a couple of weeks ago because I was around them, who said that they still thought that it was wrong that he started Trevor over Kelly, and the reason why was there was the loyalty factor. Here's the thing that I have to paint the picture for anybody who's listening to this. So let me get this straight. He's supposed to be loyal to Kelly, but not loyal to the other, 100 guys on the team.
Exactly.
I'm put in a place to actually start the best player. I'm here to start the best player. I don't care. I remember at the beginning of the season when they said Trey Lamar was not the front runner for the linebacker, and I was slapping my hands going, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. What do you mean? He did great last season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how about being loyal to the receivers that you've the best receiver core in the country that you've promised that, that they would have great opportunity to showcase their skills as receivers. How about the loyalty to them? Because they look a hell of a lot better whenever they got Trevor Lawrence throwing them the football than they did with Kelly Bryant.
And I'll tell you this right now, and I'm going to admit this while I'm on your show, and as myself, I was really, really, me, I try to be really nice. I joke around and stuff. I try to be kind towards people because I realize at the end of the day, coaches are people. Coaches have children. That stuff. So I try to, it's just a personal belief of mine. But here's the deal. I have criticized behind closed doors and then made even a little shady comments about Elliott and his play calling when he had Kelly Bryant. And I'll be danged. Once he replaced Kelly Bryant, I saw some of the best play calls that I've seen in years, even with Watson there. And what he did was actually quite genius. He stepped back and said, look, here's the deal. This is this kid's ability. He cannot throw the ball downfield, so I'm going to have to throw the ball out to the right real quick. Yeah. And we got sick and tired of seeing that. Once he replaced him, I'm telling you, man, it was like playbook pages blowing in the wind. I mean, there's just all these crazy plays coming out. And I had to step back, and I actually went on one of my videos, and I said, I've been hard on our OCs. I said, I just want to tell you, great job. Continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So they were working with what they had, and but great job for Clemson. Great job for showing loyalty to the entire team and not just one person.
Yeah, I was hard on the OC as well at the beginning of the year. At that Syracuse game, really, I almost had a heart attack in real life, like a real life heart attack. And I criticized them mainly for not using ETN enough. Whenever nobody could stop him, and they were trying to do these stupid, bubble screens. And anyway, I thought that not running ETN more in the first half of that game almost cost us that game. But at the end of the day, like you just said, there's a reason that they're getting paid millions of dollars. There's a reason that they have a national championship ring, and I'm just some dude sitting upstairs in a man cave broadcasting to 1,000 people on YouTube.
Well, I mean, I will take it a little more easy on us than that. I mean, I think that there is sometimes. I think that's where it comes down to the decision of transferring the starting title to Trevor, because they stepped back and said, hey, you know what? People are calling for my head. I don't care if I did win Assistant Coach of the Year last year. People are calling for my head. They're pissed at me because I'm calling dumb plays. Guys, I'm working with what I have. I'm working with what I have, and I like him and everything. But my job is to win football games with integrity, try to be a good influence on these guys. But my first job is to win games. They will come for my head. You know it. I know it. And that's what happened there. He was loyal to the entire team. Dabo, that is, was loyal to the entire team by making the right decision for the team and not one guy.
And loyal
to
the coaching staff, who, like you just said, if they don't win, they get fired. So, your loyalty is to the entire team and the entire coaching staff, not one individual person.
I'll say this real quick. One thing that I really like about Sweeney versus other coaches that we've had in the past, he does not have an array of excuses. You don't hear excuses coming out of Dabo Swinney's mouth. There is people who hate Dabo Swinney because he's just so darn nice and he's so clean. Yeah. It's just like he's a clean individual. I don't believe the guy's perfect. I don't believe he's perfect. I don't believe he's perfect whatsoever.
But they think his finger. They act as if he's like some really dirty, like he's a car salesman type guy.
Yeah, like that behind closed doors. He's got 15 women on the side. He probably.
And then he runs a dirty program. Yeah, he runs a dirty program. They're sending duffel bags of money to recruits and all that nonsense. And every other team who's getting their brains beat in by people like Clemson and Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, the ones that can't ever seem to get over the hump, those are always the teams that are out there accusing other fan bases of paying people because they can't really explain why their programs aren't as good as other ones. So they get mad.
Yeah, you nailed it. So I got to ask you this. And I'm about to put up a video in just a second. A shameless plug on your show.
Hey, plug away, sir.
I'm about to put up video on this particular deal. Of course, that's Durkins. Question for you is, does Oklahoma truly have a chance in this game against Bama? Scrap the whole Bobby Dirkens theory of anybody can win on it. I mean,
I do think that they have a chance. And let's put it this way. They don't have a chance to stop Alabama's offense. I don't care if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback, Tua. I mean, you could put some shoulder pads and a helmet on Nick Saban and throw him out there. But Oklahoma's defense is just so terrible. They can't tackle. They haven't seen a team with the size and the speed. They've seen a lot of teams with speed, but they haven't seen a team with the size and the speed that Alabama has on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be the only way that Oklahoma has a chance in this is in a shootout, and they have the guys to get in a shootout with. So they can win it. I'm not saying they will. I'm not even predicting that. I think that Alabama's going to win this game by a touchdown or two, maybe. But Oklahoma, if they get into a shootout, they could win it. They could. They almost did it with Georgia last year. Very similar situation.
Well, that's what I'm basing my arguments, my thoughts off of. Is last year I felt like 100% that Georgia, just as strong. I was a good Georgia defense. A really good Georgia defense. They got carved up from the word go. Mm-hmm. I was sitting there going, I'm not seeing this. I had no cat or dog in the fight. I was just sitting there going, I can't believe what I'm watching. I mean, they were supposed to come in here and bulldog, no pun intended, these guys around, and they wasn't. They were not doing it. Took into overtime. A lot of people has quickly forgotten about that team, and it comes down to the person who has the headset on the sidelines. I preach that. That is extremely important. If you think Lincoln Riley is sitting in Norman, Oklahoma, saying, "Oh, well, I know they're coming after us, but we're really good." No, he's sitting there going, "Okay, they're really, really good, but I know how to exploit their aggression. I know how to exploit this, that, and the other." I mean, he knows on the defensive side, the only thing that can give Oklahoma the win, aside from them, just continuously scoring, is if you just get one play that you shouldn't have got. Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, you get that one play, and you could be looking at upset. I still call Bama winning by 7, but I think it's a high-scoring game. I think it's like a 41-34.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, Oklahoma's giving up 32 points per game, but they're averaging. And a lot of people sit there and say, "Well, they're out there playing that Big 12 thing." Guys, listen. Here's the deal. They gave up 17 points to a Citadel team that was like 4-7 this year.
Yeah.
They gave up, and I'm just telling you, Alabama's really good. We all know that. That's why I don't even really preface it anymore. We know they're good. Duh. I mean, Clemson's jerseys are orange. Go figure. But the point is that Oklahoma has more of a chance. It's just exactly what you said. They've got to score. They've got to continuously score. They got to move.
That's the way I see it.
They cannot.
I think they need to come. They need to come out hot and score within the first couple of possessions on offense, and to continue to score. Almost every possession. They'll be allowed a possession or here or there each half not to score, but other than that, they need to score like 8 out of 10 possessions. I think. To
I
win.
agree with you.
Yeah. So
it's a tall order, but you have to have a tall order when your defense is that bad.
It's how bad it was last year? It's even worse this year. It might be the worst defense I've ever seen in a top 10 football team. Hell, they're a top 4 team. It's ridiculous how bad it is. And it's not, like you said, it's not the Big 12 is so hard to defend. No, just watch them. They can't tackle. They can't cover. They look confused. The receivers, you'll see. Watch Alabama's receivers. That Jerry Jeudy guy, and I don't remember the other one's name. They're 2 world-class receivers. They're going to be so open. There's not going to be anybody within 10 yards of them when they catch the football. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, and they're already incredible. I mean, they're already incredible.
Yeah, they're already hard to cover when you have a good defense. So.
Yeah, and that one guy is running like a 4-2 flat. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that guy being that. I mean, even when he has good coverage on him, and it's aside from being fast. I mean, he's got skilled hands. He knows how to run a route. He knows how to find the open spots. You have that guy with that speed running against that defense. It's hilarious. I mean, it's a joke. It could be a banner day offense for them.
That's why I think that Oklahoma shocks people in these playoff situations when they play teams like Georgia or Alabama, or if they end up playing Clemson at some point, is the SEC defenses and Clemson's defense, which is very SEC-like, if you want to say that. It's very big guys, and the way Oklahoma spreads you out and makes you run sideline to sideline, they wear these big defenses out, and in the Big 12, it's not like that. Their defenses aren't. The guys aren't as big pound for pound as they are in the SEC and for teams like Clemson. So they're used to running around a lot. But when it comes down to the fourth quarter for Alabama or Clemson or whoever, Georgia, and they've been running around sideline to sideline trying to defend these little roaches running around the field the whole game, they get worn out, and then it becomes a shootout, and that's exactly what Oklahoma's going to like to do, and I think that's what they'll try to do is wear them out.
Well, a good football coach, and Lincoln Riley truly is. I don't know if you remember this a couple of years ago when South Carolina was selecting a coach. Lincoln Riley was a name that come up, and he hadn't taken over at Oklahoma yet. And I'm sitting there going, I hope not, because at that point, just because he's that good of a play caller, it could have been dangerous, especially in a weak East. and then in a rivalry game to where you actually have somebody there who's just really, really good at schemes and so on. His success is no accident, because here's the deal. Look at Bob Stoops, and Bob Stoops did a great thing there. I remember when Oklahoma sucked and he first took over. I remember it, and you probably do as well. What Bob did was incredible, but there was also the title of Big Game Bob. You know, he blows some games here and there. Lincoln Riley, 2 years in a row, has taken the talent. Yes, he's taken the talent that Bob had there, but he's taken the talent and he has not pissed it away, kind of like Georgia did for so many years, just like Tennessee did a couple of seasons ago with geniuses on their team on both sides of the ball, and they end up losing 4 or 5 ball games. And you're sitting there like, what just happened? Did y'all give this to a are y'all okay up there? You know, that kind of thing. But he's gotten them to the college football playoff 2 years in a row. Yeah. Guys, Lincoln Riley is a grand schemer, and a great attribute of being a good coach, Pete, is this: I don't scheme into your game plan. I scheme my game plan. I exploit your weaknesses. If you're like in the SEC, I think the SEC, and I know I'm going to get pounded for this, so I'm used to it. So there we go. Get armed with your fake names and come after me. You know, but here's the deal: I think in the SEC, they get caught up at times too much into this. Well, we're the SEC. We line it up. We run it down your throat because that's who so-and-so did. Yeah, if I'm playing into your strength, that might not be a good thing for me. But what happens if, as you said, I can spread you out, and you have to cover me, and we're not lining up nose to nose, sweat to sweat, muscle to muscle, because that's not what the whole story of a game and trying to win is not what you do well and how we do it. Just the entire idea of getting together and playing that game is the W. That's it.
Yeah, man. That's the entire reason that coaches like Saban have completely changed their offensive philosophy from 10 years ago, because Saban's looking around going, if we don't, spread things out and throw the ball around the yard like everybody's doing now, and they're not doing it as much as Oklahoma, but almost as much. And then we're not going to win. We're not going to win. That's what you got to do to win these days. That's the same. And I don't even want to go down this road. We're get off here in a second, but the same sort of thing I talk about with the Paul Johnson triple option thing. You wouldn't believe how many people got upset that I said that the triple option's a joke. I mean, you would have thought I slapped their mother or something. I'm like, listen.
Yeah, shook a baby.
I understand that it's hard to defend that. I understand that you can win football games doing that, but there's a reason that you're the only Power 5 football program running that offense. There's a reason that there's not a single NFL team that runs a triple option offense. It's because you can't win at a high level doing that, period. And I think the same way is true, like what you're saying, with the way that Oklahoma sort of schemes you and spreads you out. It's the way the football's going now. And you still got to have big guys, tough guys. You still got to be physical at the line of scrimmage and all this sort of things that traditional football players had to do. But it doesn't hurt to have a couple of track stars at receiver and a quarterback that can take off and run with the football and nobody's going to catch them. That's not going to hurt the situation at all,
No, not at all. That's where I get ticked off when I hear people talk about you got to line up head to head and this, that, and I'm like, dude, look, I'm going to look at my team and say, what's my skill set? I mean, I just did it with my football team that I actually coach. We're playing a team who's really, they're incredible. I've been together since they were like in diapers. Seriously, I'm not kidding. They've been together for like many years. Do you think that I sat there and went, look, this is the way we run our offense. This is the way we're going to do this thing. And it's actually running into their skill set to where they can stop us? No, yeah. I'm sitting there going, I see a hole in that scheme. I said, I'm literally going, series by series going, hey, did they make an adjustment? Okay, now that opened it up. It's to be a really good coach, you have to be on your toes. You can't say this is my way or the highway. Most of those guys, and that's why a lot of the legends, I'm not knocking them, that's why a lot of legends, when you start seeing the changing of the guard in the 80s into the 90s, that's why a lot of those legends went out with losing records because it was like, we're running the football.
Lou Holtz.
Hell or high water.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, of course, the old famous Les Miles. Man, did this guy take a turn for the worst. Now, if you're a Kansas fan, you got to be excited, right? Because, Kansas is so bad that, you couldn't really miss on this one. But I mean, how the glorious have fallen, my friend. 2007 national champion at LSU, one of the biggest brand names in all of football in the mighty SEC and mighty SEC West. And fast forward 10 years, and he is now the head coach at Kansas. So there's a prime example of not conforming and not changing your scheme based on what needs to be done to keep up with the times here.
Well, that's the thing with LSU, right? That's the thing with LSU right now, and you know we've both done our impressions of Ed Orgeron. I like Ed Orgeron. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I do like him too.
Hang out with
him.
Too.
Yeah.
I think I have respect for him. But LSU, if you look at that, you want to talk about a team who pissed away talent on the offensive side of the ball. Oh my God! I mean, you had Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. on the same field at the same freaking time.
That's amazing.
With geniuses on the line. And this is what you would always hear, Pete. You'd always hear this thing, well, Brandon Harris sucked as a quarterback. I'm sitting there going, yeah, he was, what, a 4 or 5-star coming out of Texas? That sounds like – and it keeps happening. All these other good quarterbacks they'll get, and they keep blaming the quarterback. And I'm sitting there going, I think it's a development problem. We had that issue at Clemson. Issue at Clemson.
With Tommy Bowden.
And Dabo changed things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, Tommy seems like a good guy, and I'm not going to knock him. But you're right. We would get in these really good players that Florida State wanted.
Yeah.
And then they would be like,
we did. We vastly
right.
we vastly underperformed on during the Bowden years. And you're right. It was development problems because we did have a lot of talent. It was development problems and a serious culture problem. There just wasn't any discipline, and things just sort of. They won 7-8 games a year on talent alone, and it wasn't any other reason than the talent we had. Otherwise, we'd have been like a 4-win team, you know.
Yeah, you're right, and that's the year that they let Bowden. Well, he resigned, but he resigned in the middle of the season. You know, some guy named Sweeney takes over as an interim. Go back and look at who was on that team. That team was slated to play for the national championship.
Yeah,
and. Six weeks into it, we're statistically out of the running for just the ACC championship.
Yeah,
so that tells you what good coaching does. The person wearing the headset, that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, it didn't take long, man. I mean, it took long to get the top 5 or top 10 program in America stamp. That maybe took, 3 or 4 years, but it didn't take long for him to completely turn things around there. It really about 2 years or less than 2 years. And it was for anybody who had been following Clemson throughout the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, especially the 90s and early 2000s, there was a noticeable difference just in everything. The players played harder. They seemed more organized. Obviously, the recruiting started to pick up, and we started to win games that normally we would lose and that sort of thing, and not blow games that we shouldn't. You know, the Clemsoning thing. And so it was a pretty quick turnaround when he took over. I think 2 years is quick to do that.
Yeah. And think about this. What I loved about Sweeney and his change in the culture of Clemson was, you remember there was that whole deal about 4 or 5 years ago when somebody brought up one of our reporters, by the way. One of Clemson's reporters. Y'all want to say I make you look bad or Peete makes you look bad? Go after some of our reporters who reports on Clemson.
Yeah.
They've done a fine job on making Clemson bad.
Oh, they sure have.
Legitimately, they have. But one of them asked him about Clemsoning, and that's when he lost his mind. Because
I love that.
Deal.
I love that clip. It's a great clip. He did lose his mind.
He lost his mind because he's sitting here going, I am attempting to change the culture at this school. I'm attempting to get it to a greatness it has never seen. Clemson's never been this great. I don't care any of you who are sitting out there listening to this. I'll go old Bobby Dirkins here. I'm right, you're wrong. Clemson was never this good in the 80s. Clemson won that national championship. They were this. I've looked at the record. They were never this good in the 80s.
Yeah, they weren't.
They did it clean. They're not on probation. That's a biggie there for the 80s.
Yeah.
They're not on probation. Sit and think about that for a while. If you do dirty stuff for a long period of time, you get caught. You do, because there's too many mouths and ears that knows about it.
Not only that, I mean, just even if you say, all right, so maybe that national championship team in the 80s was maybe as good as any other Clemson team, but the sustained success at the top So we may have had
Yep.
a good 2 or 3 year stretch here or there and different points throughout history, but there's never been a 5, 6, 7 year run that we've stayed in the top 3 year after year after year for that long of a period. That has not ever happened in Clemson history. So.
And Pete, 9 years ago, not 8 years ago, 9 years ago, we're sitting here going, do you think we can finally win 10 games?
Yeah.
We've had eight consecutive years of 10-plus win seasons.
Yeah, it's amazing.
10. I mean, eight. That's 80 games in 8 years. That's unheard of.
And most of those are over 11
unheard
games. Really. But, yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, the expectations, the way that expectations change. And, if you're happy, if you're a Georgia Tech fan and you're happy with winning one ACC championship every dozen years, and this is the same thing I told them. I said, well, listen, your expectation is your expectation. If that makes you happy, then Godspeed. Good luck with that. But I was sitting around. I did not like Tommy Bowden. I liked him in the beginning. I didn't like him towards the end. I thought he stayed a few years too long. And I was getting sick of winning 8 games a year. And they were like, but Pete, he's won 9 straight bowl games for the first time in the history of Clemson. I'm like, look, that's great. But what bowl is it? Because the Music City Bowl is not exactly where I think that we should be right now, based on the talent that we have. So if winning the Music City Bowl is what's making you think that we need to keep Tommy Bowden here, then we're just not going to agree on this. I think that we should be competing for titles at some point.
I made a comment to someone who, I mean, they're a really good athlete, and they're a good person, and a friend of mine. This was back during about years. It's about 3 or 4 years before the whole they let him go, he resigned kind of thing. I said, man, we're getting all. We need to make a change, and not just make a change to make a change. We need to make an intelligent change. We need to look and say, who do we need to go after? That can offer us a true shot at success, because I say making a change, people say, oh, we're going to make a change. Well, I could go comb my hair with a blowtorch. That's a change, but it's bad. Don't do that. That's stupid.
I'm going to try that.
That's a dumb change. But, yeah. But if you say, hey, we're making a logical change. We're making this makes sense. That makes sense. This makes football sense. Oh, he's a good guy, so he's not going to be bringing prostitutes to the guys. That type of stuff. But when I said that, he said, oh, no. What about all those good recruits? Thing is, what about all those good recruits that we underdeveloped? And that on the back line, that hurts you when you're recruiting, because other recruits are sitting there looking at you, future recruits are sitting there looking at you, Pete, going, I remember when you recruited that 5-star guy. Yeah, he was one and done in the NFL, because you guys, that hurts you in the long run.
Oh, yeah.
So, you don't want that. You don't want that.
No, so you made some great points there. Listen, I know you got an exam, and I don't know. I don't want you to have to actually start euthanizing cats for a living, so I'm going to let you go to go study for that, so that you don't end up at SBCA one day, for real.
Yes.
Yes. And so also we'll get back together about after the playoffs or whatever, and we can talk about whatever the outcome is, whether Clemson loses or wins or whatever. We'll get on here and talk about it. I could talk about Clemson football with you all day, sir, and it's already been over an hour, and it doesn't feel like it to me.
It sure has.
Yeah. So anyway, have a Merry Christmas, you and your family. And
yes, Merry Christmas to you and Mrs. P and the boys, and for the rest of you, Happy Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You remember that?
And everybody, you heard it here today, first, live on the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel, is that Bobby Dirkens is a real person other than what you're seeing on YouTube. So, yes. I mean, yes, I can't believe they hadn't figured that out already, but I proved it for you today.
You did, live on your show. And here's the next thing that's going to come up, because I was thinking about this before we did our call. You're going to see in the comment section, I actually like Bobby better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't tell you this. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but I actually like Bobby better too.
Hey, you know what? Between you and I actually like Bobby much better than me.
All right, there's my cue. Here's my son coming in here. All right, man. Listen. Yeah. So I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Take care, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, there you have it, folks. The real Bobby Dirkens. May there. Merry Christmas.